Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Laura.
And we are TwoPaperGirls.
We missed last week's Top 5 Wednesday amongst all the Booktubeathon madness, plus we didn't really have many maps to talk about, but we're back this week to do the Top 5 required reading.
I really like this Top 5 Wednesday because we both do English, so we read a lot of books as it is, and plays and poems, and we just love some of these that we do at uni, and we've never been introduced to them before, so we want to share some. So let's go for it. Me and Laura both have a joint fifth favourite required reading book, and this is Medea by Euripides. We both read this for our drama module, and it's a Greek tragedy about a woman who goes insane when her husband leaves her and kills her children.
This is one of the first plays or anything we had to read for university. They asked us to go and see the National Theatre live in the cinema as well of it, and that was really, really great. The woman who played Medea was Narcissa in Harry Potter. I can't remember her name, but that was just really fantastic, and it was a total new genre that we haven't really looked at before. Greek tragedy is quite unique to other tragedies in drama, and yeah, it was just a really good read. I enjoyed it so much more than I thought I would, and it really got me excited for university.
My number 4 is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. I read this for my AS level. It was the first book I read, and I really wanted to do well in my AS list, and I read it so quick. I remember where I was and when it was when I read this for the first time. I just remember getting through it so fast, even though it was quite a big book for when I was that age. I just remember really liking it for its taboo-ness and all of its historical references. And I must have gave this 5 stars back then, even though I didn't know how to use Goodreads.
My number 4 choice is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. We read this in university again for our studying literature module in the second semester, and I enjoyed this so much more than I thought I would, because I read Jane Austen, only one book, but I read it twice, and I just really not a fan, and I was expecting Jane Eyre to be a lot like that. I've also read Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, didn't really like that, so all these big classical romances I was just convinced I hated. So this was a really pleasant surprise. I enjoyed it so much. It was really easy to read. I loved the story. I had some problems with the ending, but this kind of opened my eyes to not writing off a genre just because you don't like some books. You should always try books in a genre that you're kind of wary of, because sometimes there are really good ones that might surprise you.
My number 3 is Macbeth by William Shakespeare. I love this play so much. I think it's one of my favourite Shakespeare plays. Probably this and Midsummer Night's Dream, but that didn't quite make the list because it's not as fun to read, because it's quite confusing for the first time, and I read it before I saw the play. But I think I saw this one of its many adaptations before we actually read it, and we went to see it at the Globe, and these speeches, we could quote you loads of things from Macbeth.
God,
we knew this place so well.
Yeah, we had to learn quotes, and I remember we knew 150 off by heart for every single possible question that could come up in the exam. It was crazy.
I just love this one so much.
My number 3 choice is The Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. I did this at AS level. I remember the first time I read it, I didn't have a clue what was going on, and I didn't really like it because it was so confusing. But then when we went through it in class and really discovered everything about it and understood it, I just fell in love with this, and it made me convinced that romanticism was a genre that I would really like in my whole sort of English literature uni career, and it still is. I really love romanticism, and this was my first introduction to that genre, so it holds a little special place in my heart, and I even did it again for some university coursework. And yeah, I just really love this epic long poem. It's got a lot of different things about it. It's just really interesting and really good.
My second favourite required reading is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. The first time I read this book, I remember not really understanding the ending, but then I reread it and we went through all of the kind of motifs of the yellow and the metaphoricalness of Dr. T.J. Eccleston's eyes, and I just remember really liking this book and its setting and the writing style. And yeah, I just really love this book. I just looked in the front and I wrote in the date of when I first read it. It was the 14th of December back in 2012, and I've loved this book for so long, and the film's great.
My second favourite required reading is Enduring Love by Ian McEwan. I read this at AS level again, and I did also read The Kite Runner, but this one really, I just enjoyed this one a lot more than The Kite Runner. I'm not really sure why. I think I've never been a massive fan of modernist writing, like Virginia Woolf and stuff. I don't know, it's not really been my thing. But Ian McEwan, I found the story so interesting. The actual plot and stuff really captivated me. And then when we talked about how he structures his sentences and how you can't trust the narrator, and it's quite meta-narrative, the book makes a point about the fact that it's a book, and I just thought that was really clever, and I just thoroughly enjoyed studying this. And since then I've bought loads of Ian McEwan books and not read any of them, but I really should, because I absolutely loved Enduring Love.
My favourite is To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. It's modernism. I don't know why I like modernism so much. I just like the quirkiness of it. Like, it's so different, and it's all from 1920s and like wartimeness. And I just like the structure of this book and how it just kind of makes the war just not important in this book, and all that's important is people and time. And the structure in this book is just so smart. I've had to study this quite a lot in like every kind of stage of like education we've ever been in, and I just really like it every time. I've read it about 3 times now, and I've just enjoyed it all of those 3 times, and that's why it's my favourite.
My top choice is Macbeth by William Shakespeare. I really love Shakespeare. Like, I've done it again in every single stage of education, and it wasn't my favourite thing when I was younger. You know, we did Romeo and Juliet and Twelfth Night, and I was like, nah, it's okay. But this play really made me fall in love with Shakespeare, and we studied and analysed every single line. My entire copy of this book has annotations on every single page, and I know it inside out, and it really just kind of opened the door to Shakespeare for me. Now I feel quite confident reading any play and understanding the language, and I just love Shakespeare. I'm a proper literature nerd when it comes to Shakespeare. I want to read them all, I want to see them all, and Macbeth was kind of the first play that I fell in love with. So yeah, it just has a little special place in my heart, and it's epic and amazing, and I love it.
So those were our top 5 favourite required readings. We love our English careers so much. Can't wait to go back to university. Let us know down below what required readings you've loved.
And we will see you on the next Top 5 Wednesday.
Bye!